Welcome along to the National Hockey Centre here in Glasgow. The final game of Cup final weekend. Today has been all about the women's side after yesterday's games, and the men's side, the Roderick Grange winning the Cup final for the men. And the women's side, Edinburgh University, looking to keep hold of the trophy. The last couple of years they have won this competition. They are the champions up against Grove Menzieshill here. It's a lovely day in Glasgow's south side. Great crowd in as well. Plenty watching at home. And we are just a couple of minutes away from getting started. Former Scotland and GB international Vicky Bunce alongside. Vicky, this should be a very exciting game between two really good sides.
Yeah, these games are always really competitive. Bit of a big rivalry with these teams, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what the outcome is going to be at the end of the day.
So say Edinburgh United champions with their 46 points. Grove finishing third in the table, 35. There is playoffs, grand finals and the like next week, with Europe up for grabs and plenty of drama there. But after winning the league and really looking to keep hold of their cup, which they've had over the last couple of years. Looking a little bit at the sides, key players of note: Becky Merchant, well known Scottish player. Zara Mulseed, the captain, scored last year both times in the win against Clydesdale Western. A couple of key players to watch out for. We'll pick out more as the game goes on. Sam Judge, coach with the side, but also was a big scorer a couple of years ago when they were in the final against Grove, with 4 goals that day. She was injured last year, didn't play for Grove himself, captained by Lee Fawcett, and she'll be leading the side out. Catherine, the keeper for them today. Also Scotland players, Sarah Jameson, Katie Robertson, part of that squad too. So some talented players, players just back from the Gold Coast, plus plenty of young players coming through that are talented enough for League 2 squad. So a good exciting blend in there.
Yeah, there's some really exciting talent coming in, especially from under 16s and under 18s with Grove. Some really good kids coming through, and it's really, really nice to see them playing in this level of competition and getting the opportunity to test themselves against some really strong international opponents.
So huddles taking place. And we're almost set to go here. There'll be Grove on the right to get us going.
Be really interesting to see which team tries to start with the initiative and really push the pace. Could be quite an exciting match today.
And off we go then, and off on the front foot go Grove. Katie Robertson getting things started, and talked about the depth there of teams. And Edinburgh University had a great weekend. Men's side losing in the cup final, but had plate winners in District Cup and Reserve Cup, or Reserve Plate and District Plate yesterday at Edinburgh Uni. They've had sides involved, although losing today. Edinburgh University 4s in the District Cup final to Orkney, and the plate final losing to Western. And the 2s team, although Western were a big surprise to be in that competition, they were finalists here last year. That was the game on earlier just before this one. So Edinburgh being very well represented, but it is Grove looking to make the flyer of a start and towards the edge of the D there.
Some really exciting players in both teams with the ability to carry the ball at pace, so it'll be really interesting to see how attacking both these teams are.
Georgia Smith looking to try and reclaim this back for the side in white. Part of from youth part of the world and up in Dundee.
Absolutely, right from the Midlands, so nice to see represented.
As I say, it's a repeat of the cup final of 2 years ago, where Edinburgh University won by 4 goals to 2.
Interesting, Edinburgh Uni are choosing to sit not quite at half court, but sitting relatively deep, waiting to see what Grove are going to bring to the party.
Karen Belts is trying to motor through, gets the free hit.
It's a really unlucky for Louise Campbell, who's always an excellent forward, particularly at her jump back, her ability to come back into the game once the defenders have managed to actually get past. So does a really good job with that.
Well, the men's final yesterday with the goal inside 20 seconds, not quite as quick today. Edinburgh looking for possession. Arthur had some support coming in. Caitlin Girdwood.
Nice, patient, confident play in there, under a bit of pressure, but just maintain possession. There's been quite a few slips today. I think the pitch is looking wet, so the teams will have to take that into consideration and make sure that they're not playing themselves into too much trouble in there.
Yeah, they do heavily water the water-based pitch, but it wasn't water between the plate and the cup final. It was heated up. It was watered, I should say, before the plate, but the heat is coming down. But it's certainly staying rather dry. I think perhaps on this near side where we're based, because there's a bit shade, so perhaps the slips and slides have been down this kind of end. So perhaps a little bit drier when the sun's been beaten on it. As on a roving run is Amy Brodie. One of those exciting players coming through, and Scotland are developing and have a team that's grown from strength to strength. And Arthur had some support and found it. Louise Campbell down that side.
Excellent tackling there from Jenny Walls. She's another solid youngster coming through and has put in some really good performances this season.
And here's Merchant, who was with the suntan from the Gold Coast. A few of them been lurking around this weekend. I've been playing in the latter stages of both days in the cup finals.
Yeah, but it's really nice to see Becky Merchant back on the pitch. I know she'll have been disappointed with some of the selections for Commonwealth Games, but it's always really good to see she was out there supporting the girls as always, and training hard on the beach as well.
Yeah, I'm going to say she was certainly involved, if not on the field. She was certainly playing her part.
Okay, and that's a foul just against Edinburgh Union, not setting up five, not giving Grove the space to get that ball back on the pitch and begin the attack.
Jenny Wall's the one sitting there at the back for Grove for Katie Stott. So it's small. Belch couldn't control Karen Belch, that was. Now the run forwards, which is cut short. They do get the free hit here, Brodie.
It's really important when we make decisions to go into the middle of the pitch that we really try and make it as easy for the players as possible when receiving that, because they're going to be coming under pressure. And unfortunately that reverse stick pass resulted in a turnover.
Merchant. Can't find anyone in red.
Quite static from Edinburgh Uni moving the ball forward there. It was actually a really good channel. If we could get somebody stretching the play, running that baseline, then Edinburgh Uni might be able to make something more of some of those types of passes.
Stott went long. Hamilton, proud of bodies. And quite a lot of turnovers in the early stages. Sophie Maunder heading down that channel. Will it stay alive here? It does for Hannah Mackay. Talking about what the young players likes of Mackay. Was I've never seen her prevalent in the under-18s Euro Hockey Championships that were here back in 2016. filtering her way up the system in the Scotland ladder.
Absolutely, she's another exciting player, some really good ball carry skills, and as you say, she played an instrumental part in Scotland's performances earlier on in the summer, and it'll be really exciting to see how she progresses moving forward in her career. It's interesting to see Edinburgh Uni are just kind of holding off, not applying an aggressive press, and actually they're asking Grove to hit through them, and at the moment Grove are attempting that and it's just been picked off, so it's working for them. End to end at the moment with no real clear-cut chances coming, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody makes any changes to how they're approaching this match. Grove now sitting off, looking to see what Edinburgh Uni are going to bring to the party.
And Grove had an exceptionally tough semi-final against the top flight side Western Wildcats, the side that knocked out Clydesdale Western did the Wildcats in a shock first round defeat, which we've just seen the Western win the plate final. It was a 2-2 draw with a shootout win for Grove, just the 1-0 shootout win. Glasgow High Kelvin side were thrashed 9-0. That was a big surprise that they got to the semi-final, but it meant that it was a reasonably comfortable or very comfortable semi-final for Edinburgh Uni in their path to the final. Peters left to come back for Merchant. Fowler. Here's Peters again. Karen Belt stealing, but trying to run out of trouble, which is proving rather difficult here. We eventually came Stott for a while. Jameson tried to help Sarah Jameson. Back comes Fowler. Right to Malseed. From Peters' pass. Ran out of space. Merchant giving away the foul.
That's unlucky. Katie Stott just trying to take that free pass nice and quick, try and catch Edinburgh Uni.
Not quite reaching Sarah Jameson on that far side. Touched on with the pitch. It is a warm day here in Glasgow, about 20 degrees. That's as good as it's going to get in Glasgow, probably.
And surprising that it's not raining.
It was fair yesterday, but rather grey and cloudy. But the fact the heat plays a bit more a part when the sun's shining on the players and the surface as well. Not quite Gold Coast temperatures for one or two of them that are out there, though.
Certainly not. It will be interesting though, because there'll be a lot of players who haven't really played in any particular heat, so just to see how they cope, making sure they're getting plenty of fluids on board will be really important.
You know, one of them players from one of the earlier games today was mentioning how on the far side where the sun is beating rather than the shade in the stand where it was really warm when you were down there.
It's also quite interesting with the partly shaded pitches. It can make quite a difference from a playing perspective in terms of what you can see, particularly when people put some aerial passes up, so it'll be interesting to see if any of those play a part in today's game.
And it wriggles, but didn't take a touch in the circle. Dicey there and given away as far as Mackay. Flashes by.
Excellent save by Caffrey in there, real full stretch. It's a good press by Uni. We've asked him to play it into the pocket, turned the ball over, and resulted in a really good save. Here we can see it again. It's a good shot on reverse. Excellent save by Caffrey. Excellent save.
Yeah, I think was it Fawcett, I think, that gave it away. So there was certainly a couple of heart-beating moments there, and a couple of hands up and apologies. But up the other end, here come Grove. In the middle is Kingston, but the umpire's whistle comes in. It didn't go in anyhow.
That just goes to show how we can have an attempt in one end and how fast the game is, results in an opportunity coming at the other. Not sure why that wouldn't have stood had it have gone in. It's hard to see from that angle. Surely the umpire must have seen something that we couldn't.
And back through the middle they come again, bounced up off the body and lofted up, and they will take the penalty corner. Good work from Katie Stott.
Some really good skills in there. Just getting that ball off the deck makes it really difficult for the defenders to deal with.
So first penalty corner in the game, 15 minutes gone. So the defensive side get themselves all padded and ready to defend on the line. Sarah Jameson to inject here. 5 around the knee, just behind is Stott for the 6th player. And it comes for Stott, took a deflection, and it's a goal. And the opening goal of the final goes to Grove.
Not sure who got that final deflection. We hopefully get to see that on the replay. Here it comes now. Good ball out to the top, nice and fast, good stop. Slap comes in from Katie Stott, comes off the runner. I think that comes off Amy Brodie. Not sure if Grove get another touch, but well taken goal.
Yeah, I think it may well have been the defensive touch that took it in, so credited. We'll give it to Katie Stott in the 16th minute. So the holders behind here, they went and had bother last year when they went behind against Clydesdale Western, but they came back to win 2-1, so
interesting to see how they react after going 1-0 down. Just an attempt at an aerial there, maybe not quite high enough and off the sideline, but it's nice to see these youngsters attempting that from the deep pockets. It's always going to be really difficult to play the ball straight to the zone without having moved it first. These teams are always going to pick that off, so we need to try and get the ball moving before we try and attack through the middle of the pitch.
Here come Edinburgh looking for the equaliser. Brodie trying to work it in. Now at the other side, flung towards Gerwood. Whitegrove come with it.
It's perhaps a bit unfortunate for Grove there. Really putting some pressure on, driving down the sideline, and perhaps won a foul in there. I think they thought they did, but you just got to keep playing until you hear that whistle.
Ball from Merchant. Mackay just dispossessed. And now to try and turn it into an attack. Karen Belch winning the ball and then claiming it, and now keep on going. Here is Sarah Jameson motoring through, just seemed to keep on going through the middle before eventually a tackle came in. That's loose though, comes to Kingston, but can't quite control her eye. Smile. Good play and good pressure and good phase for Grove after taking the lead. Here's Malsito, danger player. Captain. Fawcett covering.
That was a good try, just getting to winning that ball and looking to change the point of attack nice and quickly before Edinburgh Uni able to set up. Just unfortunate, didn't quite make target.
It has been such a patchy second half of the season for Grove. Really failed to find the consistency. They're fighting the top four for the European playoffs, but they are ahead here. Ball coming across again. Good play this time from the Uni by Judge. Couldn't find a red body and a stick in the middle.
Grove are going to have to be careful. There's been quite a few times now in the game that Uni have managed to get some crosses in. They haven't quite connected, but if they manage to get more people in the circle, Grove are going to have to start to deal with that.
Fowler in trouble again here. Edinburgh Uni not quite reaching Kingston. Goodwood initially with the clearance away. Back it comes though with Grove and with Robertson. Goes for the hammer. Merchant. Peters back. Merchant. Neat from Arthur. Peters for Goodwood. Trying to get a sneaky one in Jameson.
Uni there just trying to keep possession of the ball, and as I say that, they turn it over.
It's known in the trade as curse to the commentator. Welcome to the club.
Thanks for that.
I think it grows by the day.
I think that's fortunate in there. Be careful, try to pick that ball up too close with too many numbers around and relying on winning the foul in there.
Karen Belch cross. He'll receive it back. Grove start to try and tease out the Edinburgh side. Just about kept by Hamilton. Merchant. Peters. Here's Merchant. I'll see it in the middle if it reaches that way. Oh, and it Judge is there. And there is Malsaid. And scorer of 2 in the final last year. Scorer here for the equaliser for 1-1.
It's a really well taken goal, but again it's come from that cross ball from the right hand side. They do well to jump on the spilled ball in there. Sam Judge does well, keeps composed, tries to get a shot away, and really good reaction from the striker to put that high in the top corner. Excellent finish.
Captain's equaliser for Uni, although they've had crosses in the first rail. Probably effort and goal, I think, of note. I think there was the save earlier, so probably the second effort they've had in goal. But they have got themselves an equaliser. And as I say, Zara obviously got the equaliser last year as well when they went behind Western. And she's done it again here for the level up. There's the hashtag that we've been using all weekend, hashtag Scottish Cup, to join in the conversation. As mentioned, there is the playoffs next week, which will result in the grand finals next Sunday at the Hockey Centre. So hopefully the weather's just as good for some drama, promotion, relegation games as well as the European games. Men's and women's side. And there's loads of big games coming up internationally. Scotland women and men in action. Celtic Series, Italian Series, the Atlantic Series over the end of May, throughout June and early July. So plenty of good international hockey around in Glasgow over the start of the summer.
Then we've also got the Club Europeans, which Edinburgh Uni are hosting in May, so this is really good preparation for them, continuing on obviously their league success from last year and the playoffs from last year, so they've got that coming up in May. Tickets I think are available.
Yeah, plenty going on then, which is really exciting. Football's not going anywhere in the summer or any other few other sports, not too much success, but plenty of success in Scottish hockey in the last couple of years or so.
It's just really good to see teams able to host big competitions in our cities. So it's people can get along to show their support. I'm sure everyone will be really happy with that.
Who'll be the happiest at the end of this game? At the moment, we are back in level terms. If it was to be a draw at the end, there would be a running shootout. Not had one at all this weekend.
And they're always entertaining.
Yeah, really enjoyable stuff since they changed it.
For the neutral anyway.
Here's Judge being pushed out wide. Tried to get in towards Malseed, but Karen Belch dots it behind for the long corner.
But again, there's that cross from that right hand side.
9 minutes until half time.
Grover now sitting really deep.
Yeah, pressure building here. Peters tried to wriggle through. Hamilton to attempt to clear. Takes a foot and that'll help. A reminder, you could well be watching for the first time for a while since perhaps it's the Commonwealth Games. That format has been using the quarter system, 15-minute quarters, but we are using the traditional 35 minutes without the stop clock bar. If there's any major issues, the clock stops injuries wise. But the old system, speaking to Gavin Byers yesterday in the men's final, he was quite like playing both. I quite like the speed, and players have prolonged their careers with the quarter system, but likes playing the 235s as well. So good variation, he likes it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to keep it consistent throughout the season. If we know that the club games are that, as you say, that old system of the 35 minutes, then it's important that continues. But I'm not actually sure what the Club European situation will be, if that is the same or if it's 15s, but it can make a difference to how you approach a game and changes that you make.
A real scramble there, which seen Peters on the floor for Edinburgh Uni, but they come away with the ball. Here she is, but it's going to be the end of that move for now.
As you can see now, the Uni team have stepped up that press. So before they were sitting off, and now they're looking to be slightly more aggressive.
Well, when these sides met last month, it was a 0-0 draw. Sounds thrilling. A few chances on show in that game, but no goals. At least we've had a couple here, one apiece so far. Well, Grove did hand Edinburgh the first defeat of the season, but that was way back in October. Goals from Jameson, McMullen and Walls.
Grover just really kind of struggling to keep hold of the ball at the moment. Some kind of sloppy turnovers in there that they're going to hope that Uni can't capitalise on.
Peters down that line. Further help there. And didn't take a touch on the way through from Sophie Monder, who was waiting. just was stretching and stretching, but not quite.
Yeah, she just got drawn towards that near post, and had she maybe held that space a little bit, she might have got that crucial touch.
So, back on the 23 line for Grove, but misplaced passes, but one or two little complaints there. Katie Robertson thought she got it back fair and square. Final 5 approaching for the first half.
Really good ball pace from Edinburgh Uni around the back there. That's really allowed them to capitalise down the opposite side of the pitch.
Burst of pace for Monder into the circle. Was looking for a stick, and it's a side netting. A phantom cheer from the crowd.
Really good build-up play from Edinburgh Uni there. Nice and simple. Good ball pace around the back, down round the outside, and almost getting an outcome there with that shot.
One or two lurking in there. I think Grove may will be happy to try and get themselves to half time, because you mentioned since the equaliser it has been fairly difficult for them to keep hold of possession just like that. Katie stopped marginally cynical, hand up though quickly as Bruni get back going.
Yeah, I think she was a little bit fortunate there.
Great play down the channel again, Monder involved. Is it going to stay just in? It does. But a bit of a stretch to keep it under control. I don't know if that dummy worked. Monder there again. And underneath the legs. Louise Campbell for number 2. And a pass, I don't think it really was intended, but it somehow worked out, and then they've got themselves a second.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that was an excellent dummy. It's a good pick-up, spots the space, and then Louise Campbell does really well to protect the ball, takes it out on reverse and just slots it underneath Catherine.
So 2-1 it is then to Edinburgh Uni. And that's exactly what you would want right before the half-time break.
Disappointed with that. Losing that goal just minutes before the half time, they'll be pretty disappointed.
Grove looking, trying perhaps get a quick equaliser. They've not threatened of late. And the whistles by there, the 2 or 3 white jerseys in the circle.
It's a good attempt from Katie Robertson putting that ball in there, and there was a diving attempt, and that had connected, might have resulted in a shot on target.
Yeah, Susan Hamilton was the one trying to get there. Here's Monder up the other end, looking to keep the ball in play. Monder, and she's got the advantage of the play on. What came in though from Grove through Fawcett, and just looking to try and at least get themselves half time. They're really struggling to keep hold of the ball, keep up with the Edinburgh Uni threat that's coming in larger waves.
I think that was the right call. That looked like a high dangerous ball. Can't be too disappointed with that decision.
Yeah, ball kind of bubbles up and there's players around that can cause damage. Alison Eady. Uni into the final minute with the lead. When it goes again on free space, and number 3, and very quickly it's coming further and further away from Grove. Edinburgh Uni have had a terrific last 10 minutes of the half, and they picked up a couple of goals towards the end of the half.
Grove will be particularly disappointed with that. It's gone through 2 players to find someone unmarked on the penalty spot, and there's not much that Catherine can do with that. It's a good finish, but as I say, Grove will be really disappointed with that. Yeah,
we talked about Hannah Mackay earlier about how much of a rising star she is in the game, and she had the time to slot and finish for number 3. And there is the hooter for half-time. And Grove, for the first 20 minutes or so, were terrific, got their goal, but then that woke up Edinburgh Uni, and they've had 3 goals in relatively quick succession in the last 10 minutes or so of the half, 10-12 minutes of the half, which has really flipped the scoreboard on its head. Strange way how it's turned out in the end, the way that Edinburgh have now burst into life.
Absolutely. I mean, that second goal obviously gave them a bit of a boost, and they've pushed on to get a third going into half-time, and they'll be absolutely delighted with that. It'll be now interesting to see what Grove bring out to the second half, if they make any changes, if they try and press a bit more aggressively, or if they sit deeper.
Okay, let's have a look at the goals. Let's run them through. This was the opening goal, Grove taking the lead. I think stopped with the attempt at goal, and it was a defensive touch rather than another attacking touch by the look of things.
Yeah, it takes a touch off Amy Brodie, who's that number 1 runner, and then looks to hit the footside post player as it goes in. So yeah, definitely a Katie Stott goal.
Then Zaramal Seed to make it 1-1.
That's a really good finish, instinctive finish from the captain there.
Campbell then for number 2. Took her time and slotted home well.
Yeah, she does really well there. There's quite a bit of pressure coming from the defender, perhaps overcommits. And then this one just goes through 2 players. You know, player on the penalty spot, you wouldn't expect them to miss there, and Catherine's done all she can.
Mackay with a third right in the stroke of half-time. Is that a dagger for the chances of Grove to win the cup? The holders could well be winning it for another year in a row. We'll take a pause for the moment. We'll be back shortly for the second period at the half-time break in the Scottish Cup final. Edinburgh University have the lead over Grove by 3-1. Well, welcome back here to the Hockey Centre, National Hockey Centre here in Glasgow. One of the venues that was built and prepared and readied for the Commonwealth Games in 2014. Hard to believe that we've just had the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. Feels like it was not that long ago since we had the Glasgow 2014, but now being used for cup finals like this, and Edinburgh University with a 3-1 cushion after going behind. And Vicky, you know, it's a bit of a tough task. Now Grove need to find what they did in the first 15 minutes or so of that first period, don't they?
And some. They've obviously got a 2-goal deficit to overcome now, so they're going to have to take the game to Edinburgh Uni. So it'll be really interesting to see how they do that. They've obviously stepped up their press. They're piling on the pressure just now, and they've got the ball back.
Looking to try and build from deep in these early stages, but that is given away, and that's not in the plan book. And here's Ella Watt. Could this finish it in the first few seconds? Judge time, and well, eventually it goes behind after that dicey moment. That could have been the game almost there in the first minute of the second half.
Absolutely, and there's a classic Judgeo upright hit. Just didn't quite make the connection that she normally would, and you can see she's pretty disappointed with that attempt.
That's the worst case scenario, conceding the first minute or so of the second half when you're two adrift. Cut out by Merchant.
She's so good at picking those balls out there. She's got a really good eye for the ball.
Judge looking for Peters, who could only find Karen Belch. One white jersey around, and Lucy Smith.
It's a sloppy turnover from Edinburgh Uni. They'd be expecting more from themselves than that.
Belch sees the gap that Fawcett was in. Merchant dispossessed though this time by Jameson.
Yeah, it's a really good steal from Sarah Jameson in there.
Going to try and perhaps find a foot. That does come off the foot, but a Grove foot.
It's excellent cam play by Ali D in there. Just winning the foul, relieving some pressure, and Uni have got the ball back.
It's the final game that's taking place at the moment for the day. Earlier this morning, to bring you up to date, Ellen beat Glasgow University Thirds 5-3 in the district plate final. That was 4-0. Ellen were in front, came back to 4-3, and there was a penalty stroke which was saved before Ellen went up the other end to make it 5-3. Orkney retained their district cup final, or district cup, after winning against Edinburgh University fours in that final. It's 4-0. Clydesdale Western, as mentioned, went out rather dramatically earlier on in this cup competition in the first round to the Western Wildcats. They reached the final against Edinburgh University seconds and won by 5 goals to nil. A bit of a canter. They kind of never really got out of third gear. They're 4-0 up at half time. Lanigan, Sabatelli, Mason Steiger in there, and then Edie adding to the scoreboard in the second half. Lucy Lanigan, one of those at the Commonwealth Games, just back, and it's the first game for Western since coming back from Australia. 5-0 Western winning the plate for Derek Forsyth's side. Thread through ball which just whistles by McMullen. Lucy Smith trying to deliver it for her. What? Not happy, but play on. Again, here's Smith. Rattling around Jameson. Trying to find that gap in the end. Jameson this time unhappy that the ball's left her stick.
Yeah, not really sure what she was looking for there. Looked like they're just carrying the ball and she lost control.
Fawcett cut out again. Once more Merchant causing problems. Here she is with some support in the supporting cast getting forward and towards Malseed in the circle, off the foot there of Emma Tennant by the looks of things. So first penalty corner of the half.
Yeah, that looked like a bit of a soft penalty corner to give away. Looked like they had people in position there as the ball comes in. Just seems to miss the ball and hit it off the foot. So they'll be disappointed with that.
So literally just over 5 minutes gone in the second period. Alison Eady heading there to take the injection. Here is Merchant, the first time we've seen a move, and it's taken a deflection on the way through, and it's been put in by the looks of things by Amy Brodie.
Yeah, slap off the top, back to narrow, back to the injector for Amy Brodie to put in on a reverse deflection. Sorry, it was L1, not back to the injector. Looks like goes in off the keeper, so Kath will be a bit disappointed with that. But yeah, good corner by Edinburgh Uni.
And that seems a long, long way back for Grove. Hamilton, advantage from the umpire. Only found Peters.
I think the task for Grove is now to not let Edinburgh Uni run away with this. 4-1's a tough scoreline to come back from, so it's now just about damage limitation and making sure that they can make a good account of themselves.
Any glimmer of hope they're trying to score in the next few minutes, and no goals can come quickly, but here is perhaps a glimmer of hope. Wriggle through there. Some good play by Jameson initially, but ball just wouldn't sit nicely for anyone else in the circle.
Just thinking situations like that is just getting something away on target. It doesn't have to be the perfect shot. You just need to dig it out your feet and try and get something on target. Make the keeper make a save.
We have seen 1 or 2 deflections that went in as well off a defender or a keeper, so anything can happen.
Good skills from Amy Brodie. It's what she does really well. She's a good ball carrier and manages to turn defenders inside out.
Merchant. Edie. Turn from Monder.
That's good strong play for Jenny Walls back there. Nice and composed. So when Grove get the ball, they're really needing to work hard to keep it, keep possession, build up play, make Edinburgh Uni move, wait for the gaps to open up. At the moment, it's turnover after turnover, and they're not able to play themselves into the game the way they would want to. That was good from Katie Robertson, picking the ball up in the middle of the pitch and not just forcing it, looking for the wide option again to try and move Edinburgh Uni.
Sting taken out and all that. It feels like a little bit though from Grove. They can't quite string the ball together. When they do claim it back, Peters again harrying to steal. Oh, foul given against the threat there of a pinch and a perhaps 1-on-1.
Yeah, I think Susan Hamilton was actually a bit fortunate there, hand on the back, bit of a shove. Fortunate just to have the foul against her.
We've been singing quietly since the winter shutdown. 6 victories, with a couple of points dropped against Grove and a 0-0 draw, which we talked about earlier last month. Had that 2-0 defeat as well to Western, but have been very consistent, certainly much more consistent than Grove, which we talked about in the first half. We've been a bit up and down with the results. We thought what kind of Grove side we would get today, but started so well, but fell away as the first half carried on and what we've seen in the second period so far.
Yeah, Grove just really struggling to get any consistent pressure going forward. It's, that last piece of play there, we're running into the middle of the pitch when perhaps keeping a bit of width would be the best thing to do. A lot of force on the ball and balls into the general direction of teammates rather than making it as easy as possible to retain possession.
Good play from Edie, getting a bit of a cheer down there from the players that are on the sidelines, and Claire Hill, the team manager.
That's right, just play on, there's nobody near her there. Good decision from the umpires.
Feeling relaxed, bench down to our left, looking very happy with life. Looks like the double it will be. Once again for Edinburgh University, Merchant picked out a great pass in this space. Hutchison carries it on and forwards it on, looking to continue a run. Yeah, so there she was trying to link up again.
That's a good tackle from Lee Fawcett in there. Okay, can we see Grove trying to... That's unfortunate, maybe would have wanted to continue with the play there.
Claire Edwards and Caroline, at least the two umpires in the yellow and black. Small and Robertson. Again, no one really around. Iona Armour was the nearest, but too far away from her. Edie up for Judge. There's a little breather, but back on the last moment or so. Picked out a great pass for Hutchison. Through the middle for Malsaid. And I thought she was just moving to win that race, but the keeper just had it covered there. Right.
That was a lovely ball through from Sam Judge, just getting the ball in behind that next line.
Stott coming together with Peters, but Grove carry on. Stop back to feet now. Reclaiming him, picking out Robertson into the circle to fire. It's smothered by the keeper and helped away.
Yeah, it's a good shot from Katie Robertson and a good save from Susan Al-Haddad in the goal.
Grove carry on with the ball across. Robertson again, will be still a long corner. Smith small. Diving from Hamilton. A little bit keep ball. Still 20 minutes just over on the clock. Switch from Newton, which is switching the possession back. Karen Belch is looking for this one back there, but Stott dispossessed.
That's a good steal from Katie Stott, some good skills moving the ball forward there.
Yeah, she lost it, she got it back, flies it across, but it was a bit too high perhaps, and not really going to catch anyone anyway. Flashed well by Lauren Kingston.
Yeah, she did really well to win the ball back there, a bit disappointing with that cross.
Hutchinson trying to keep. Fowler looking to go down that line. Only found McMullen for Grove. Turn from Robertson. Now on the other side to work some magic. Tried 10 away. Hamilton looking in every direction possible for a bit of a hand. Karen Belch. Small wasn't going to reach that. And now here's Watt. Good possession found. There's Arthur waiting. If it reaches her, not quite. Fawcett in the middle. And the turnover.
Yeah, Fox is always really good at getting herself back into those dangerous positions and picking off those loose balls. But it's well back from her. I think Grove need to be careful if they're now relying on running the ball out of defence, because if we do turn it over, then it gives you less options to be able to defend effectively. So they're going to have to be careful with that.
Uni still applying the press. I'll see furthest forward, just in case. Small. Trying to get round Watt. Robertson trying to break through the gap.
Yeah, she was a wee bit unfortunate there, but it was a really good tackle from the Edinburgh Uni player.
I think it's card time. Green being flung, so it doesn't help the cause for Grove. A couple of minutes. We're down to 10 players, which is not really what you want with 3 goals deficit. And Susan Hamilton taking an enforced breather. Although her side still trying to work the ball away, but there is danger. Watt, the turnover thrashes up off a stick. A white player of Belch becomes dangerous off Malseed's body, and it's a penalty corner.
Yeah, this ball comes in. Look to take the reverse stick shot, bit of a turn, front stick. We get the shot across, comes up off the defender, and hits Malseed in the chest. Fortunately, it wasn't her face.
So defenders ready, more or less. If I were to get here.
Slightly different setup from Edinburgh Uni this time round.
Comes Malseed. Bit team, I don't know if she was trying to aim it towards goal, but it ends with a very team effort with the turnover of possession. And the end of the opportunity wasn't really much of an opportunity in the end.
Yeah, certainly looked like trap perhaps wasn't quite as it should have been. Certainly didn't look like that was what they were attempting to do.
At the other end, though, Millen trying to keep it. Still for the next few seconds with 10 players. Back with Watt for the Uni. Brodie forward, and Judge, well, got into the right position. Ball was coming towards her at a fast pace. Keeper was coming out just to make things difficult.
That was a lovely ball from Amy Brodie. Sam Judge made a good lead in behind and opened up that space beautifully. She'll be disappointed with that pick-up.
And here is Newton. Good space found in Goodwood. Well, didn't pick out the pass she wanted.
Edinburgh Uni seem to be able to get out of this press from Menzieshill at will at the moment.
Here's Jamieson. Goes back to the 23 through the long corner. Fawcett. Maybe we'll go direct. But did take a first touch. Sarah Jamieson was hoping that someone behind was in white, but there weren't. Now the space open up again. Brodie. Wonder the one now on that side. She's another one that's kind of switched between the channels. Both players will get into a phase where they'll be getting tired, perhaps grow a little bit more because they've been doing an awful lot more defending of late, and they're going to have to do it a little bit more, perhaps. Karen Belch away with it. Hamilton back on after a green card. McMillan, that is not what the doctor ordered. Peters trying to find the space initially. Merchant.
It's a good tackle from Merchant again, ball in the air, and she manages to pick that off. I think some of the Grove players are looking particularly tired out there, maybe feeling the effects of the heat.
Yeah, still rather warm. Even in the shade, there's plenty of warm around in the coveted position. Did mention about this bright comeback which Glasgow United were trying to attend against Ellen this morning. You just can't see it happening here for Grove. Even if they get one back, still a big task.
Yes, it certainly is, and as a result they look like they're trying to force it quite a bit, which is resulting in those turnovers.
Yeah, Campbell making a good run, one of the scorers. Arthur. Fawcett never had much help down that channel, only one player forward because they're busy back defending.
That's good hassle from young Lucy Smith in there though, good pick up, tried to do the right thing and then chase down the ball.
No one around Peters to pick up the ball, but go against that.
It's Corey on the ball just now.
Jameson leads with her side. Small goes direct, only for Merchant. Quickly away with the free hit. Emery Uni looking to add extra gloss onto the scoreboard, perhaps. Just running here.
Yeah, it's really well backed by Karen Belch there. She's a quick player and used her speed really well there just to cut out that threat. And then a good early pass up front.
Jameson was against Edie. Hutchison. A few more of these straight passes coming now. We talked about the tiredness factor, heat factor, concentration factor. Easy to do, I guess, when you're 3 goals up.
Absolutely, but you can just see as the players start to get tired, they stop the footwork, stop putting the ball in the right position in relationship to their body, and that's when those passes, the bouncers, that they end up going off the sideline and resulting in a turnover. When we get tired, that's when we really need to focus on those basics.
Tennant trying to go down the line.
It's just little margins like that. Ball goes into the middle, out wide, and it's to a reverse stick instead of a front stick. And it's just those little details that can make a significant difference, especially when you're tired. Both teams looking a little bit disjointed at the moment. Nobody really able to make the most of possession.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes or so we had a right old changeover possession between the two sides, and it became the same again at the latter stages of the game. Jameson though put a glimmer of hope in this for Grove. Shadowing the D. Now she's worked herself into the D. And penalty corner given. Well, it was great work from her. And somehow she went from one side of the edge to the other and then in and got herself a corner.
Yeah, Sarah always does really well to carry the ball, just outside the line of her body, using her body to protect and make it difficult to get the ball off her. But she did really well to get in there and win that corner.
I think she was having a half complaint because she kept on going despite, I think, a foot coming in, and she put it in to the back of the net. But
it's a hard one for the umpires. They're trying to give you the advantage. They don't think you're going to get something off, and then as they blow for the corner, you put it in the goal. So it is a difficult one. Yeah. But as a striker, I can feel her pain.
Split second stuff. Here is Jameson. First penalty corner Grove have had in this second half. Trapped by Fawcett. And help towards goal by Fawcett. Hay was trying to get the touch, and that goes out.
And they'll be disappointed with that. That's an injection that's come out. Looks like it's come out squint. I don't think that was a deliberate pass to front stick. So they'll be a wee bit disappointed with that opportunity.
Striding legs of the run from Merchant.
And that's when worked really hard, created that overlap, got themselves into a really good position, and then we give a bobbly pass to reverse. Really important. That's when the teams really need to focus on the basics and make sure that the pass goes to the intended.
Seems a distant memory now since the goal from Katie Stott in the 16th minute, which gave Grove the lead, but goals then came from Edinburgh University towards the end of the first period, and here could be another one. Judge didn't quite trap and control to turn. Away there is Stott, the Grove scorer. Zara Malseed equalise, and then further goals from Campbell and Mackay before half time. Mackay's right on the stroke of half time, and then 6 minutes or so into the second period, Brody with the finish for 4. And that's how it stayed ever since in this cup final. And it was 4 goals they scored a couple of years ago against Grove in the cup final, finished 4-2 in 2016. And they've scored 4 goals again in the 2018 final. They have won the last couple of years. Edinburgh champions again of Scotland. And they're going to add this to their bow, and they're also in the playoff excitement, if you can call it excitement, next week. Probably not from a playing perspective, but from a fan's perspective, the playoffs are always fun to watch.
Yeah, it's always a funny one for me. I'm a firm believer that, you know, you do the hard work throughout the whole of the season, and then of course the playoffs are a great spectacle for our sport, and you do get that pressure playing there. So yeah, I'm always a bit torn with the playoff myself. Yeah,
I can see why, because you've seen it in other sports. You know, you can win a league, but you don't win a league if you've got playoffs. And some sports do that. The promotion relegation, I think it can work with, you know, second bottom and second, third, fourth. It can be an exciting aspect. But yeah, I can see the point where it can be a difficult one for the fan. It's maybe one for the debates out there. Grove still looking for a second goal in the game. Armour forward. Lauren Kingston back to Armour. Good play this by Merchant. Trying to get Robertson. Hay winning back. Robertson there, free hit Grove's way, trying to finish at least with a flourish.
Yeah, I'd like to see Grove get a goal in this last under 4 minutes now, just to bring a bit of excitement back into this.
Arthur has other ideas. Keep it down there just to try and tick down the clock a little bit. Certainly was the case. First 15 minutes, and it was pretty clear that Edinburgh Union never got going. The goal actually helped them to perk up and play some hockey, and from then they've never looked back. Susan Al-Haddad, that's back there for MUS. He's not really much to do since Grove scored. It's been pretty much one-way direction of the goal-mouth action. Advantage here though, and there is a penalty corner.
They did well there to try and get something out of that. It was a pretty tough tackle coming in. See that again, just missed it. Yeah, she did well to ride that tackle, and then yeah, looks like maybe tripped up in there.
Yeah, Lauren Kingston back to her feet. And 2 minutes left. Looking, as I say, just to get a second goal of consolation for their afternoon's endeavours. which has certainly since going 1-0 up has been more about defending the waves of Edinburgh Uni attacks, particularly as the first half was timing out, the goals were coming. Grove looking for a second here. Flashes by the goal.
That was a better injection from Grove that time. Good stop, and just unfortunate that strike wasn't on target.
Yeah, by it went from Robertson. 90 seconds left on the clock. Well, for Grove it has been a good run again to a final, and there will be another second place. He had a reasonably comfortable run to that final. Big wins over Edinburgh, Watsonians and Aberdeen. Had that tough semi-final as they look for a second. Is just the right for the long corner. It was that semi-final game where Grove had to dig in against the Wildcats with the shootout. It was a tough shootout as well with just the one goal.
Well, that's unlucky from Louise Campbell. Maybe we pushed there. I couldn't quite see from this angle, but she'll be a wee bit frustrated with that call, I think.
Robertson, and it's fell through for Stott, and it came off the defender. Stott was lurking, I think, to try and get the second.
So ball comes into the D, takes a deflection, shot away, and a good save from Susan Al-Haddad in the goal.
Just talked about that, so the first thing I think she's had to do is for, and certainly in the second period, can't think of anything of note. Arm out in Grove direction, 20 seconds left just to try and finish off. In fact, I think the corner signalled in fact in the end, so they will have this. The clock may well go to 0, but they can complete the penalty corner. So the final moment, final opportunity of the game will go to Grove to get their second goal.
Yeah, a bit of a last few minute flourish from Grove there. Would have been nice to see them trying to apply that pressure maybe a little bit earlier on in that second half.
So there is the hooter, so we do play out the penalty corner in this situation. And Karen Belch with the injection here. So final play here. Will it result in a goal? No, it doesn't, from Katie Robertson. And that is game over. And that is the win again for Edinburgh University, the unstoppable force in the game at the moment. Last couple of years, the double there, they've won this competition. Last couple of 3 years now, they defeated Grove in 2016. They won last year as well, and they've won again. They've won the league last week, and it's still extraordinary how they just were so, I guess, passive the first 15 minutes. Grove started so well, but as soon as they went 1-0 Grove, Edinburgh Uni were on the front foot, and as soon as it went 1-1, it only kind of looked like that the winner was coming from that side.
Yeah, it certainly looked to me like Edinburgh Uni started the game thinking, sitting a little bit deeper and asking Grove to try and hit through them, which they weren't able to do. They did go 1-0 down, and then it's obviously given them a bit of a kick-start into this game, and they were definitely the deserved winners on the day. And they'll be delighted with winning the double again, and it'll give them really good confidence going into the playoffs next week and then their Europeans in a couple of weeks' time.
Let's look back at the best of the action from the game before we get to the ceremony. And the opening goal feels like an age ago now from Stott. That was 1-0, but then all the goals next would come from Edinburgh Uni, but the telling touch coming off the defender, helping it on its way in for the opening goal. And a few minutes later it was all Edinburgh Uni, as I say, and Mal Seed with 1-1. Judge really making it.
Yeah, Sam did really well in there. Maybe a bit of overcommitment from the defender back there, opened up that inside space, but a good finish. And then an excellent pick-up. A little bit fortunate with that deflection, but then Louise Campbell does really well. Calm, composed, slides it under the keeper. You can see they're delighted with that.
I thought we might get to 2-1 at half-time, but then there would be a third goal, and just rattles and wriggles through.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for me. It looks like it perhaps takes a bit of a touch off the player outside the D and then catches Lee Fawcett unawares back there.
So Mackay for 3-1, and then the only goal of the second period came from a penalty corner, and Brodie with the telling touch underneath the keeper and in.
It's a good touch from Amy Brodie in there. I think Catherine will be a bit frustrated that looks like it's gone in off her. We'll maybe see it better from this angle now. Comes in. Yeah, it comes underneath her. Should be disappointed with that. But a really good touch from Amy Brodie in there.
So the presentation to come in just a couple of minutes' time. I know you've been around for most of today, but another cracking weekend it has been. But for what you've seen today, another good spectacle. The two competitions this morning and into the early afternoon. So Ellen beat Glasgow Uni 5-3 in the plate final, District Cup final. Orkney retaining the trophy. Definitely seem to be at that level, even the progression of quality of players we've seen. I know Orkney particularly impressed with a good win against a Fours team, but a side that don't play regular league hockey within the mainland, they play locally in the islands, so I know they impressed, but certainly a good play across the board today.
Absolutely. I unfortunately missed the first game this morning, but caught some of the Orkney Uni game. And yeah, I was really impressed with Orkney. Played with really good intensity, real good tenacity. So that was really nice to see. And as you say, they don't often get the opportunity to compete off the island. So it was really good for them to be involved in this competition.
Yeah, we've mentioned about Clydesdale Western. They were the big shockers out early doors in the cup competition. And Edinburgh Uni 2's a bit of a jump between the leagues. The Edinburgh Uni 2's team play a couple of divisions below the first team and Western were the big favourites as soon as they went out of the cup competition, and professional job, got the things done at half time. They were 4-0 up and cruised their way to victory with a 5-0 win. And I know speaking to one or two players that it was a case of we don't want to be in this competition, but we've got to the final, we went and won it, and it's a professional job there.
Absolutely, and whenever a first team gets put out in the first round, it's always going to be quite tough for the other teams that they then come up against. But you come here, you do a job, and all credit to Edinburgh Uni. They came here, they clearly made a decision that it was going to be a tough shout for them to get the victory, so they tried to do something different. They asked questions of Western, and they held them for long periods of time in that game, and I would like to think that they'll be happy with how they defended. The goals that they conceded in that first half of the game was very much down to turnovers, so take that out of the game and I think they'd be pretty happy with that performance.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I think I made a joke about tents and stuff being sold out in the previous game with Edinburgh Uni 2 because it was literally all defenders in the 23, let alone their own half. It was one of those where they were just defending, it was attack against defence. But generally for the Edinburgh University side, it's been some weekend, not all winners, but there were plate winners in the men yesterday, the 3s and the 2s team. They lost in the cup final, did the first team. Today the Uni side lost to Orkney, the 4s and the 2s lost, but again making it to the final, but their first team winning. So number of Edinburgh University sides here across the men and the women all weekend. That shows a lot of strength, and I think we had earlier on the day one or two people mentioned about the fact that the university teams, players often leave. There's a higher turnaround of turnover of players because players last 4 or 5 years and they leave uni and stuff.
Yeah, for me it's quite an interesting one. I think the fact that the university have obviously over the past number of years invested in their hockey, and a lot of that's to do with their Bucks competition, but they invest in their university teams, they attract lots of young talented players, and then because they've got so many teams, they're competitive, and that the competition to get into teams obviously drives the standards up, which is a real positive. So it's really good to see them represented, and as I say, if you look at Edinburgh Uni going into Europeans in the next couple of weeks, it'll be really good to see how they fare at that competition.
For those perhaps that aren't regular watchers watching the BBC coverage and maybe haven't seen any hockey since Commonwealth Games, maybe explain what the Bucks competition is for the uni side.
So the Bucks competition is a university-based competition where it's very similar in terms of a league structure. There's different tiers of the league, and the universities put teams into that and they gain Bucks points, which I'm pretty sure counts across all of their sports. So you end up getting top sporting university. So the university are obviously keen to attract quality athletes into their setup. So the better they can be as a sporting university, then they can encourage more athletes to come along.
And as I say, we've seen Glasgow Uni as well this morning, and certainly plenty uni sides that feature in the pyramid system in hockey. Here are the Grove players making their way through for their silver medals, beating again in the final like they were a couple of years ago. If you could pick out a player or two that stood out for you from Grove Day, who do you say?
Well, for me, Lee Fawcett is always a really strong player for Grove. She's, a bit of a stalwart back there. She'll kill me for saying that, but very experienced player, and always appears to be in the right place at the right time, which is exactly what our teammates need. Bit of a pain to play against, I'll be honest, but she does a great job back there and really holds them together. For me, Sarah Jameson's obviously got fantastic hands. She's got excellent skills and can be really threatening moving forward. So some really key players in there, and I'm really delighted to see some of the youngsters featuring. And yeah, they'll be disappointed with not getting a win today, but this level of exposure for them is fantastic.
And same question really, now you see the winners getting their medals. Who would you pick out of the side, the victors in Reunion?
Difficult one. I thought there was a lot of really good performances out there, a good team performance. They seem to have a good understanding of what they're trying to do across the board. Amy Brodie obviously injects a lot of pace into the game, particularly when she picks the ball up in midfield and breaks through lines. Louise Campbell exactly the same. But I have to say, Zara Malseed for me, good finisher up there, quite clearly a bit of a target woman up front. So she stood out for me as well. So lots of really good performances in there. I have to say, Becky Merchant playing in that back line, she finds some really good passes, she makes some really good tackles, and for me, I like seeing her playing back there. Yeah,
and Zara Malseed, you mentioned it, really shows a captain instinct, scoring last year, scoring the goal which flipped the game around and took on the ascendant, saying here she is about to get the trophy. Little pre-procedure picture first before they can get it in the air.
That's nice to see Maggie Conacher looking nice and awkward back there. Will I stand up? Will I crouch down? And Hamish in the background.
Yeah, Hamish the hippo there, ready to join in the celebrations too. And now here is the trophy lift as they are, well, they're getting used to it, aren't they? League winners last year, cup holders, winning the league and the cup again, and just so natural to them. And it rounds off a great weekend of hockey and fully deserved. And now it's the drama and excitement, whatever your opinion is of the playoffs next week.
Yeah, bring on the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
Well, Vicky, been great to get your thoughts. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a great weekend of entertainment here at the National Hockey Centre in Glasgow, and that's where our coverage comes to an end for the weekend. 8 games across the 2 main pitches, 10 including the back pitches yesterday as well. The headlines in the cup yesterday for the men: Grange winning the Scottish Cup, which was a bit of a change up after the holders Kelburn went out. And this year in the women's side, Emory University once again winners of the cup competition, 4-1 winners over Grove, with the exciting playoffs to come. From the cup final weekend, thanks for joining us. From all of us here at the National Hockey Centre, it's a very good evening.